Lynden Nichols.
Hello, everybody.
How are you this evening, Lynden?
I'm pretty good, Pod.
That's good. And
it's fun to be back here on the other side of the desk.
yes, and of course, I've been away for a few weeks, and I must thank you sincerely for keeping the show going while I was away.
And christening the new studio Tapwise.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, as a lot of people would know, we are in our new studio in Berkeley Street at Berkeley Square, it's a lovely studio, isn't it?
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to get all the buttons and everything to work correctly tonight. But look, it's all pretty much the same. It's just sort of kind of a new environment. But it's lovely. It's really lovely here, isn't it? So I think that's about all I have to say about that for the time being. But thank you once again, because I think I've been away for about 3 shows, and it's a lot of work and a lot of production, and you've been working very hard.
I've been working hard, but it was fine.
Yeah.
And I will interview you maybe next week, perhaps all about your wonderful, colourful trip.
Yes, of course. I've been away in Mexico and Cuba, and been posting lots of images to Instagram and Facebook, and I've had a lovely time. So we can talk about that and let people know more about that, because it has been visually very exciting for a visual artist like me. It was really wonderful sort of input, and I found it very exciting. It'll be a big
challenge for us to talk so visually on a non-visual medium.
But I know that you do like a challenge like that.
I do.
Yeah. And the other thing I do need to mention, folks, is because we're changing the studios, things are a little bit different. We don't have our news up and running yet, so we're straight into the show. And normally we do a little weather report as well. So, of course, today was a lovely day. I think that's all I need to say about that. I don't know what the top temperature was today. Maybe, look, I don't even know. But tomorrow it's going to be cloudy with the top of 18. Then Friday it'll be cloudy with a top of 20. Saturday's going to be a lovely weekend. Saturday it'll be a bit cloudy, a bit of sun, 22 degrees. And then on Sunday it's actually going back up to 26 degrees, a little bit cloudy. Getting hot again next week, so back into the 30s again next week. So make the most of this cooler weather while you can. Now, we would love to welcome Lesley Morgan to Voice FM this evening to the Arts Program. Welcome, Lesley.
Thank you very much, Pauline.
And we haven't heard you on the show for a little while, but of course you are from Ballarat Libraries,
yes.
which cover, there's 3 sites in Ballarat, isn't there?
Yes.
There's Ballarat, Sebastopol and a Wendouree location as well.
Exactly, and also the outreach service.
And of course that very important outreach service, yes. And so is your role to oversee the whole great big Ballarat Central Libraries situation, for want of a better word?
No, my role is coordinator of community engagement and partnerships. So basically what that means is I have the strategic look and view of all the programs and events. I manage the outreach service, also the marketing, all the marketing that goes on at the library service, and partnerships, and and also the home library service volunteers. So
that's a big job.
Yes.
And we were just saying a little while ago, there's been a really exciting announcement for the Ballarat Library today, hasn't there?
Oh, it's incredibly exciting. We've from the state government, so through the Live-In Libraries funding, we've actually been awarded $500,000, and so that means we will have basically 1.9 million to renovate and refurbish the Ballarat Library, which is our main library. And the library was built 26 years ago, and back then it was really built for what the community needed, but 26 years later it's no longer what the community needs.
In some respects, 26 years isn't really that long, but I suppose with technological change and I suppose, communities change quite rapidly.
And for something like a library, which actually has changed extraordinarily over that period of time, hasn't it? So it's quite a long time.
It certainly is. And Pauline, like you said, technology is being huge, the changes since then. I mean, now we've got a conveyor belt out the back that returns all our items and puts them into bins.
Oh, so it's like a real conveyor belt?
It's a proper conveyor belt.
Oh, what fun.
So, I love watching
Is that outdated?
No, not really.
Because I associate conveyor belts with, really old-fashioned factories,
No.
which would be outdated. But no, anyway, sorry,
No, it's fine. So what it is that people put items into a chute, and the chute's a conveyor belt, and the items run along the conveyor belt, and then they go. There's a whole lot of bins. There's 9 bins. And so fiction will go into the fiction bin, non-fiction into the non-fiction bin, holds into a whole bin. So it's like that.
Not automatically.
Yes, yes, it does.
How does it do that?
Because it's radio frequency, so it's called RFID. So every item has a tag, and it's similar to the supermarket.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It is amazing, isn't it?
So it's. I love watching it because the items just run along the belt. They've been returned, and they just
go off into the right spot.
Go into the right spot. Yes.
Now, Wendy, when you were saying that this wonderful money that you've got, and congratulations, that's for refurbishment. So there's no new buildings per se, but you're going to reconfigure the internals.
Yes. So definitely, there's no. It's the existing building, but it's going to be completely changed inside, and also the floor space is basically doubled, because upstairs at the moment is offices, and that's going to become public space.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And I think I read on the announcement today that I think is the main entrance going to be moved around so that it faces the Civic Hall.
Yes, definitely.
So part of that plan to integrate all of that area is starting to come to fruition in that respect.
Yes, that's right. So you'll from the library there'll be much more synergy with the Civic Hall. Yes. So, and it'll give people greater access to the library than where it is at the moment. And again, 26 years ago that was fine, but
I suppose and I suppose that road has become it's super busy, isn't it? And I suppose
incredibly busy.
Changing that orientation will be more user friendly and pedestrian friendly and all that kind of thing.
And there'll be a
well.
ramp and
Gosh, I can't wait to see all of that start unfolding.
Me either.
Yeah, it's and what other sort of changes will be happening with this new funding?
Well, it will be a lot of refurbishment, and so there'll be more meeting rooms there.
So it'll be big. I think you said it'll be a bigger
Yes, so
space.
basically the whole it will be gutted, and then we'll start again with different spaces.
And so does that mean then? So for example, there are a lot of staff, aren't there? So you'll be working in the other part, like in Sebastopol and outreach, and sort of relocating to the other parts of the library.
Yeah. But also, we're not sure yet whether the building work may be done in stages too.
Oh yes, yeah. So when will all of that start? Tomorrow?
we hope it starts tomorrow, but it won't, because there's processes that have to go. But it's just really, really exciting that we've got the funding.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yes.
It's great news. Yeah, congratulations. And so, of course, as we all know, and as we've been saying, the library offers so much more than libraries. We almost need to stop saying more than they used to, because libraries aren't they used to anymore. They're now. They're very much part of this huge technological change. You offer all sorts of classes to people. There are all sorts of workshops that people can do, stuff for kids and teenagers. And I know you always have a lot of wonderful events happening, and I think last time you were in, you were talking about things like a language cafe for people that maybe are learning English or other languages. Are those sorts? Is that still happening? The language cafe?
Definitely. Yeah. The language cafe is on the last Thursday of every month, so it runs from basically 4 till 6 o'clock, and it is so popular. We had last month, we had over 30 turned up, 30 people, and we thought when we first started the language cafe that we had to give people prompts, what to talk about. No way.
No.
We actually, what we usually do is have a little activity, and that might be not last month, but the month before, we had Tai Chi. So we were all in the library there doing these beautiful, peaceful Tai Chi moves to music. So it's just like an icebreaker. And then people can talk in groups, they can talk one-on-one. And what we find is that people come for a variety of reasons. It might be that they want to practice their English. Quite a few people do that. But also people come because they might want to speak German, they might want to speak Spanish, they might want to speak French. So they're looking for others to speak another language.
Yes.
So there's usually at least 2 to 3 staff working there, so that we can make sure that people are not sitting there not talking, you know, but and so that they're interacting with others. And the feedback we receive from that cafe is fantastic. So definitely is continuing on next year.
Fantastic. And I suppose, well, for people that are travelling, I mean, I've recently been in Mexico and Cuba, and I must admit my Spanish isn't up to scratch, but for practising something like that, it would be ideal. I mean, I've come back with a bit more lingo, and if I'd stayed there a bit longer, a lot more, but if you're thinking about travelling, it's always good to have a bit of a practice of the language of the country that you're going to, so it'd be ideal for that.
Definitely. And so many people do come for that because, you know, they've been learning Italian or they've been learning Spanish. Spanish seems to be quite a popular language. And
well, it's kind of, yeah, well, not that we'll go off into languages, but it's got those recognisable kind of the word origins, I suppose, that are somewhat similar to English, I suppose.
Exactly. So so people come along and then they'll be, you know, speaking that language together. And also we have found that friendships are formed as well. Yes.
Fantastic.
Which is lovely.
So now when's that happening again, the language
So it's
cafe?
the last Thursday of every month.
Every month, yeah.
So unfortunately December rests on Boxing
Day, yeah.
So it won't be in December, but it will be. It's definitely in January.
Yep. And I think if people go to the Ballarat Library's Facebook page, you can just click on events, and it usually comes up on as event,
Definitely.
which is a really handy thing to use as well.
Yes.
So now, what other exciting things are happening? You've got lots of bits of paperwork there. What else? What else should we know about?
Well, something that's really close to my own heart is the Libraries After Dark program. And I'm not sure whether you or your listeners are aware of the Libraries After Dark program, but we got a grant from the Victorian Gambling Harm Minimisation, and that grant is for staff in programs for Libraries After Dark. And what Libraries After Dark is, or what it means to us, is that the Sebastopol Library is open every Thursday night till 10 o'clock. And we run a program every Thursday night, or an activity every Thursday night. So, and also we run normal library events or services. So people can come along and they can, you know, and we've been seeing families come, you know, or dads come, bring their children, read some stories, that sort of thing. And quite a few people attend the program. So tomorrow night we've got Von, who's going to be talking about the Dutch on the goldfields.
Oh, yes. Yvonne.
Yes, Yvonne.
Davis.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. And then the following week we've got calligraphy and Zentangles, which we've already got 60 people booked into that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
60?
60.
That's a lot.
Yes, I know.
And that'll be a workshop sort of situation.
It will be a soft workshop. So there'll be all sorts of things there. People can have a go at. There will be staff there to assist. There will be YouTube how to, you know, do calligraphy, how to do Zentangles. But there'll be all the materials available
And
there.
can people, Wendy, turn up to that sort of thing, or mostly do they have to book?
Look, we do like people to book because it's really good to know the numbers so we can have enough materials. But you could, you know, like if you suddenly decided, oh, gee, I would really like to go down, we're not going to say, oh, you can't come in.
But it's good for the library staff to have some sort of idea of whether it's 60 or 10.
Yes, yes. And like in January, we've got some really exciting things on. So we've got booking a holiday online. And so we actually employ a full-time digital literacy coordinator. And his role is anything to do digitally. So it could be, you know, phones. It can be computers, laptops.
How to use.
How to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
I've noticed that a lot of your events that come up are teaching people how to survive in the digital age. You're doing a lot of that, aren't you?
Oh, we do a lot of that, and we do get some grants to do that. But also, as I said, we do employ a full-time person. That's their role. That's all they do, and you know, there's such a big need for that.
Yeah.
So, some very friendly, extremely helpful man helped me with when I first bought an iPad. I don't think I even knew how to turn it on.
And that's what I mean.
And he helped me with all of that, and there was some sort of malfunction on my phone, and he helped me with that. And it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's really important is it's all free.
Oh, yeah,
So
fantastic.
you can have one-on-ones, or you can we do classes too. So our staff member Graham is actually running the session on booking a holiday online. So, and he's got notes as well, so you can take things away. And he also talks about pitfalls of, booking things online because, as we all know, put in your credit card and all that type of thing. So he talks about the pitfalls.
What to watch out for and
what to watch out for, but also all those sites that are, have got a mind full of information. So whether it's TripAdvisor or, Webjet or, there's a whole lot of different sites. He also talks about that. So he actually goes through a presentation. So that is on 9th of January.
Okay.
And then on the last Thursday of the month in January, we've got a travel writer who's written a travel book on her expedition across, I'm pretty sure it's New Zealand. So she's going to talk about that. So that's on the 30th of January. So, we run some really exciting things.
Oh, you sure do.
Through our Libraries After Dark program.
Yeah. And I'm not sure that we've had you in the studio since the reopening of the Sebastopol Library. I'm not sure that we've had a big chat about that. But I think that's all sort of all reopened since we had you on last. But that seems to be going gangbusters out there.
It's going amazing. I was speaking with Sally, the team leader, today, and she was saying that that they're getting between 350 and 450 a day come through. Which is a smaller library, but great numbers.
But those numbers have increased since
probably doubled. Doubled, doubled. And for those that haven't seen the library, go and have a look. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's basically the facade was kept, and then it's a new library behind, and it's very warm and it's welcoming, and there's different spaces for people. The children's area is beautiful. There's a fiction area a room where you can go and sit, and there's a whole lot of fiction there. And then there's meeting rooms. There's a glass meeting room. It's really, really beautiful.
So for your workshop that's coming up, the Zen Tangles and that the After Dark.
Yes.
Is there a particular place in that's out at Sebastopol, isn't it?
It's all at Sebastopol.
So do you have a special workshop room, or is it just held in the library in general? Or
we have a meeting room.
Yeah.
So people can go into the meeting room, and I'm pretty sure, yes, the calligraphy will be in the meeting room, but if there's more people come, we will spill it out into the library too. Yeah, we can run things in the library because it's a good size space.
Fabulous.
As well.
Yeah.
Yes, and so that's every Thursday night, other than January the 2nd, because we've just reopened after the Sebastopol Library being closed for a week, and so other than that date, and obviously
closed for Christmas, of course.
Yes, obviously Boxing Day. Yeah. The library at Sebastopol will be open every Thursday night till 10 o'clock.
Fantastic. That's exciting. Now, we've been chatting away like crazy. I think we'll have a short music break and have a listen to a little bit of music, and then when we come back we'll find out what else you've got happening at the libraries.
Definitely.
Now, bear with me, folks. Lynden's just left the room, and this is the first time I've used the CD player, so I hope I can get it to work. I think I can. I think it's pretty straightforward. But the music that I do have this evening is by a lovely band that I saw in Tasmania last year. They're called Halfway to Fourth, and this album's called Treasure for Memories, and this first song is called Not My Life. So enjoy, and we'll be back with the arts program very shortly, so stay tuned. And that was a young band called Halfway to Fourth. They're actually the nephews of Johnny Diesel, John Lazotte, who I saw in Tasmania last year. I think they're terrific. They sound great. But for the time being, you are listening to the arts program, and of course we go to air every Wednesday evening from 6 till 8 p.m, and we're in our brand new studios. It's very exciting. My name is Pauline O'Shaughnessy Dowling, otherwise known as Pod, and I can see Lynden Nichols over the other side there. Our desk
behind a new, really big microphone.
There are, and it's sort of a little harder to see you in here, but we'll organise some strategies around that. I think the desk is quite a bit bigger, isn't it, than we're used to. So, and of course we're talking to Lesley Morgan from Ballarat Libraries, and we've been talking about well, all sorts of events. The new funding announcement today, which we've shared to the Voice FM Facebook page, and you can also read about that and see a short video about that on the Ballarat Library's Facebook page as well, and read about the changes that are happening to the library that'll be happening at some stage soon. And lots of events and workshops people can get involved in. What else have you got happening at the library, Lesley?
Well, starting on the 13th of January, we actually have the school holiday program. Now, the school holiday program is always an exciting program, and next year, it's hard to say next year, but next year, it's actually a Harry Potter theme.
Mm.
So there's things like slime making and wand making and owl trivia.
Owl trivia.
Yes, trivia. Also a magician. So there's going to be a whole lot of different activities. So from January the 2nd, people can book into those activities, and you can do that through the website, or also ring the libraries.
Yeah, and make sure you book in for those.
Well, you need to book in because they're really popular, and they book out so quickly.
They do, don't they?
Really, really do. And Harry Potter is so popular that I'm thinking that these will book out again really, really quickly.
Do you think Harry Potter's always going to be popular?
Well, we've run really major evenings, probably about 4 times now, one a year. And we always thought, it'll wane. But the last one, we had over 600 come.
Yeah.
And I think the first one was like 250, 300 people. But the last one was definitely over 600.
So you must have done a really good job, because people were telling each other, go to the Harry Potter thing at the library. So
it is
fantastic.
It's a fantastic evening. We're not having that next year, but instead we're having a school holiday program that's very much themed around Harry Potter.
And you've got, Wendy, also a summer reading challenge. How does that work?
So the Summer Read Discovery Challenge, this is a new thing for us, and what it is that children or young people up to 13 years old can be part of this program. And what they need to do, they get the little booklet, and there's a whole lot of squares on that booklet, and the square might be read your favourite author, read a book that's set in a primary school, etc., etc., etc. And once you get a line, you give the booklet back to us, and then you go in the draw to win one of 3 prizes. So it's encouraging reading over summer, but it's also fun. It's also fun.
So your school holiday programs, is there a cost with those?
No.
So they're all free as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't charge for programs because we want access for everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fabulous.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we just work hard to to provide all of these programs, and we don't charge.
How many staff are there across the 3 locations, and including the outreach program as well? Must be huge.
45. Yes.
Yeah, that's significant, isn't it?
Yes,
And-
it is.
And what about at the central library there on any one day? How many staff would be working there during a normal day?
Look, it varies, but it probably would be at least 10. And that's in the main branch.
Yeah.
At least 10. It could be more. Yes, because people, not everyone works all day, So,
Yeah. And is there anything else that we need to hear about that's happening? We're mainly talking about over summer at this point in time, aren't we?
Yes, yes. What I should say is that we've got a What's On brochure, and that What's On brochure comes out every 2 months, and it's due to come out in the next week or week and a half. Is the January and February brochure.
Fabulous.
And there's all sorts of things in there. So
And can people sign up to receive that online, the brochure, or is it?
you can actually sign on to get the newsletter. And the newsletter has those sorts of things in, yes. And it has a whole lot of different things in. You can certainly sign up for the newsletter. With What's On, you can just go into our website and it's all the information's there, plus the link if you want to book.
Fabulous,
Yes. And we also, over summer, run a whole lot of digital classes, digital literacy classes. So it might be how to do Excel, how to write a resume, all that type of thing.
I think I need to do how to use Excel. I'm not very good at that.
No,
Probably should come in and do that.
I should say I've had classes too. Just a really good refresher.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. So there's all those sorts of
how
things.
to use Word, how to use Facebook, how to use anything sort of attached to your computer, I suppose. Fabulous.
Definitely. Yes, that's right. So we do run, as I think I said before, we do run classes with a maximum of 6 in each class, and then we run a lot of one-on-ones. So if you've got a problem or you've got an issue and you're not quite sure how to resolve that issue, or it could be just something really, to you, it's not a big issue, you can actually book a one-on-one.
Oh, that's great.
And those one-on-ones are really popular.
Yeah,
that's what I
sounds like you might have done that. Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes. So what I suggest to our listeners is to go onto our website and have a look at the What's On, because that gives you a whole list of, because there's all sorts of different things that have been run over summer. Yeah,
and I can see that we're going to have to get you to come on the program perhaps a little bit more often, so that we can kind of keep people updated about all that's coming. So.
I'd love to. I just love libraries and and everything that we do, and just to get that message out to people about what we're doing,
and then you'll have even more people in the library.
Yeah. Great. And of course we want to hear about how the renovations and all those physical changes go as well, because that's going to be super exciting.
Yes, definitely. It really will be super exciting, and I'm sure that there'll be photos and things online to. The progress, so that people can see the progress.
Fabulous. Any other burning events, or will we just direct people back to the website at this point in time?
Yes, please, if you could, because there's so many things that I think it'd be best if people have a look.
Yep.
And also our early years programs finish on Friday for the year, but then they will start. I think it's the 10th of January.
Oh, okay.
Or the 13th. No, it must be the 13th of January. They will start. I'm saying January. It's the 10th of February.
Okay.
Yes. They will. The programs will start again.
Terrific. All right. Well, Lesley Morgan, thank you very much. It's been great hearing about everything, and we'll get you back before too long, I'd say.
Thank you.
To hear about what's happening next. Now, I'm going to put on a bit more music, Lynden.
Okay.
So I'm just going to ask you on air to skip to my next song. Do I just press play? Do you reckon?
I think
I'm going to give it a try and see what happens.
Give it a go.
So we'll be back very shortly, folks. And of course, we're in our new studio. That's why I'm asking these questions on
There's
air.
something about the white knob, but I think in this situation, if it's the next track, I think you can just press.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Well, I'll be back shortly. So this song is called. It's called Row Your Boat. I love this one. I think this is my favourite. Okay, we'll be back very shortly with more of the arts program. Wasn't that great? I love that song. I often play that at home and dance around the kitchen, and the dogs love it, and we have a wonderful time. It's called Row Your Boat by Halfway to Fourth, and they're the nephews of John Diesel. So I saw them in Tassie last year. They were great. Now you're listening to the Arts Program. We go to air every Wednesday evening from 6 till 8 p.m, and we talk to local artists. We talk about the arts, don't we, Lynden?
We do.
We do lots of arty interviews, and we have a great time, don't we? We're in our new studio, and we're as happy as Larry. Love the studio.
And we appreciate you loyal listeners. We do have quite a few, Pod.
We certainly do, yes. And of course we have a Facebook page as well called the Arts Program -tap, and we always do a little promo before the show and tell people about who's coming on the show, such as Heather Horrocks, who's joined us in the studio right now. Hello, Heather. Hello. Sitting there very patiently waiting for us to introduce you. And then later on in the evening after the show, we do an update about who's been on the show.
Pod's much better at the updates than I am. You're good at doing the links, Pod. I'm not very good at that.
Oh, well, there's no reason why you can't.
I could go to the digital workshop thing at the library.
I could run it for you. I could do a one-on-one for you.
A one-on-one with coffee.
Yeah. Yes. Well, we'll have a chat about that and get that. Although I know you don't mind kind of pushing that over in my direction.
No, I don't
little
mind,
job.
really. Doesn't worry.
Yes, it all swings around about. It all balances out, doesn't it?
Does.
Yeah. So Heather Horrocks, visual artist, and crafter extraordinaire, and craftivist. I reckon I could call you a craftivist, couldn't I?
I like that word.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
And I'm from Wendouree.
Yes.
Where it's all happening, yeah. And well, one of the reasons we have you in the studio this evening is because you have recently started a project which is reinterpreting the Eureka flag using crochet.
But I blame you, Pod.
Yes, I am very much part of this. It's just that I missed the very first session
I'm
because I
going
was
to
away.
hold up a ball of wool,
Yes,
Pod,
and Lynden's taking a photo.
and we can talk about blue or we can talk about white because that's where we're heading.
Yeah.
We're going to recreate the Eureka flag, full size, in granny squares.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited about this. Not those bright, leery granny squares that
No,
you see
sorry,
some
Paul.
people making.
Not like yours, Pod.
This will be blue and white, like the Eureka flag.
So is it going to be the size of the original flag?
Yes, full size,
Which
very
is
big.
what? Just
It's about 3 metres by 2.5. It's very, very big.
It's
It
very
is,
big.
yeah.
So a crocheted version is well. I don't know how heavy the original version would be because that's wool,
It's
isn't it?
pretty heavy.
But
this one will be
this
heavy.
one will be pretty heavy. Yeah.
So it mightn't be able to fly.
No
No.
flying. But we'll be carrying it around. The whole point is to get it out of the gallery. It's a lovely thing, but nobody can touch it and nobody can play with it. But this one we will be able to.
Yes. And so you're saying that you're blaming me, but I think part of the reason that this emerged is because with the announcement of Ballarat becoming the UNESCO city for craft and folk art,
yeah.
those of us that are excited, well, there are many of us, but some of us are particularly excited about crocheting things like you and I are, Heather. Somehow this idea for the Eureka flag, I think that was actually your idea.
No, it was yours. But we can all, with the help of the City of Ballarat and the Eureka Centre, we're off and away. And I've got about 250 squares so far. We're going to need about 1,000, I think. But
Oh, and you've already got 250.
yeah, but and there's more out there, I know.
That sounds like a quarter. No, that's not a quarter.
No.
My maths is terrible.
Yeah, 250 is a quarter of a thousand.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So
Oh, that's
you and I
good.
need to talk about the logistics of this and how much fun we can have. And
Yes.
how many people we can pack around a couple of tables to put it all together.
Yeah.
But I've been saying to people in your absence, without your permission, that those who can't crochet, and there are lots, I'm happy to teach, but if they can knit, I have said, Pod, we will accept 10 by 10
Oh, of course.
centimetre square.
Yeah.
Oh, a knitted square.
I think they'll look beautiful.
You could do.
knit a square.
Yeah.
I've brought the wool.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
She takes it
choose
with
my
her
colour?
everywhere.
It's blue or white.
Well, I think that sort of contrasting stitch, because some of the colours will be a bit like the blues there'll be different blues
Yep.
and probably some different whites as well. So that contrasting colour and stitch, I think, will be the making of it.
It'll give it a bit of life.
Yeah.
And I have been saying as well, because there's an empty end, so it's not complete, so we'll have a ghost end. And I think that's when we might call on people who do other craft to
So when-
fill in little squares.
So when you're saying the ghost end, you mean it's the fact that the real flag has pieces missing? Is that what you're
Yep.
referring to there?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
have to tell you that at a recent stint of the pikelets, that is Mark Dobson Pikelet 1 and Moir Pikelet 2, we helped the City of Ballarat present some of its senior management strategic things. And in the process, we had...
What did you do?
Well, it was at the Eureka Centre. How could one resist providing fresh granny squares as they spoke?
Oh.
And so I did that.
Right. So you grannied.
Yes. But the
Oh.
thing was, I had this fabulous... One of the women who's done a sterling... She's got to have done over 50 by now, I think, Lynn Blomley, said to me, what about, in the spirit of the poppies, what about Eureka poppies?
Oh.
So I did little white centres and blue surrounds. Now,
Oh.
you may be able to do it the whole crop. It defeated me, but they look quite sweet. So I think this is possibly the City of Ballarat's new merchandise.
Great.
Visiting dignitaries.
What a cute idea. I love it.
Go to dignitaries.
Oh,
That's a
yes.
good idea.
I mean, my skills are very basic. I just make granny squares. There are a lot of people out there that are much more
probably
talented
make
than me.
elephants and clowns and things like that.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
But a little blue poppy.
I really love that idea. I think that's gorgeous.
So it's not going to stop.
Yeah.
Even though we finished the flag.
And I'm sure there's a very easy pattern for something like that. Yeah,
But they look quite cute just with the little white centre and the blue edge. So we might get away with that.
Yeah, I love it. And so, look, with the Eureka Flag project, I mean, it is, there's quite a few squares to make, 1,000 squares. That takes some time. So we're encouraging people to get involved, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah. And I know you had your first get-together making session, I think, was it on the 1st of December at the Eureka Centre?
The activity day. And we made quite a few. I reckon there was about a dozen people came in and out, and it was such a good thing to talk about.
Yeah.
And mostly women, I have to say.
Yeah.
The bikies went past inspecting the flag, and I did offer to teach them to crochet, but they didn't seem interested.
No. Well, you should have told them that Ryan Gosling crochets.
What's the size for a knitted one?
10 centimetres by 10 centimetres. All of them need to be 10. But look, the reality is we're all different. We use, and they're a bit, Paul, I don't say they're not wrong. Nothing is wrong, but there is a variety, and you and I are going to have some interesting times.
Well, I think you can make it all fit. It's like putting a sleeve onto a dress. You just have to make it fit.
Yeah, a bit of tweaking, and we could iron some and shrink some others.
So, have we decided when our next get together is?
Well, no, because you've been away, Pod. I've been waiting for you as the general manager of this project.
I can say I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. I am just sort of catching up on a few things, just sort of starting to catch up. So probably should have one in January sometime during the school holes, I suppose.
We could certainly do that. And Anthony Cam, the lovely new director of the Eureka Centre, is very happy to have us there. And I did try and convince one of the security men that he could learn in his spare time, standing there waiting for people to do something dreadful. I don't know what they might do down there, but he could knit granny squares, and I'm sure that would be, like a defence mechanism. Everybody with a granny square in their hand could not possibly be attacked.
Indeed. And so the idea is this is about celebrating craft and craftivism and the fact that we have our UNESCO listing, which is super exciting. It's wonderful, really. And so it's about celebrating that and celebrating, the idea of craft and making and those sort of, how would you describe it? Some of those, I suppose, made things of more humble origins, I suppose.
Well, also, and for free. Look, there's this whole other thing with craft, and we can argue about whether we should or we shouldn't, but there's a great spirit of giving and sharing. You share your stash, you give gifts. The whole craft world is very generous, and it's happened already. We're going to get a new flag, courtesy of the crafters, which acknowledges the women who made the first flag. Only this time we'll know all of the names of the people who did the granny square. Yeah. And I think that the Eureka flag is a great peace statement. So the women didn't take up arms, they took up a flag. They took up their needles.
And
I
thread.
think that's something we can all do if we
I think crafting also, for me, it has a lot of images of sort of storytelling and sharing. And communal creating
and passing on of skills, passing on of knowledge. And there's that attached to it as well.
Beautiful.
And it's the stories and the secrets. When if you're sitting as I was at my maiden aunt's knee, I heard, she'd forget that I was there, and you hear things as a young crafter, and the conversations that go on when you're making things are often very funny, possibly naughty, but people talk. You can talk. It's not solitary. Or it needn't be solitary.
And now, as you started explaining before, so there will be a crocheted component, knitted components, but there will be, so it will replicate the current flag, which has big gaps in it, and so there'll be room there for artists to add other types of
that are interesting. So it becomes an art object. So I think you and I have got a bit of a gig to get the thing shaped, and then we'll be able to have a look at it and see. And by then, I'm sure people will be saying, "Can I have a go? Can I have a go?" And That'd be fine. And then we've got the stars to do, which I think are probably the last thing we do.
Yes.
And they could be magnificent. We don't know yet.
They could be, well, they could be anything, couldn't they? They could be fabric, sewn on fabric, but somebody might come up with a great idea about what the stars could be. They could all be different.
And I'd like to think we put a recycled component in there somewhere. You know, we could.
The possibilities are endless, and I suppose this idea is it's not set in concrete. It's evolving quite obviously, because you and I are discussing ideas about it right now. Because a part of what happened, I think, was we came up with the idea, and then I left the country for a few weeks, and so I suppose the whole concept is developing as we speak.
But everybody loves it. So if it's a good idea, people do it. My only thing about it, I mean, it's summer. It's a classic winter project.
Yeah.
Crocheting's really hard when in the heat. So there's no panic. We've got till next Eureka to get it ready and launch it. But
also, having said that, the Eureka Centre is cool. Yep. And if you're just making one, I mean, if you're making a big blanket, that is very difficult in the middle of summer. I've tried to do that because it's all sitting on your lap and it does get very hot. But if you're just making one little square, it's not quite as it's. And so you probably it's
Ballarat. So
yeah. It could be cool over summer in inverted commas. Yeah.
So we're encouraging anybody to contact me. Me, yes.
Yep.
I'll do a little post thing on Facebook at Ballarat Arts Alive.
Yes.
So
and of course our CEO, Justine Linley, has been very much involved in this as well. Hello, Justine.
And her mother is extraordinary. I think it's nearly 100 squares Justine's mother's done single-handed.
Oh, wow.
Her mum in Sebas.
Oh, fantastic. I think I may have got a couple done before I left. I might have a couple of blue ones, so we might have, 252.
Not that it's a competition.
No, not at all. Absolutely not. No.
And the more the merrier. So if we've got some left over, we can give them away as people did with the original flag.
Indeed. Share. Well, we can make scarves, all sorts of things. Okay. Now, did we also decide that we would be providing the wool for the main body? We are providing the blue and the white wool. All you have to bring with you is maybe a crochet hook.
Yes, I'm a bit short on crochet.
I've got a few. Actually, I've got a few I can bring to any sessions we have, but the wool we're going to provide. So you can just turn up and use that.
I wouldn't call it wool, but
acrylic material. You've brought in a lovely collection of different blues there.
Thank you.
Which I really like. I like the idea of changing it up a bit. Yeah, so they are acrylics. They look like the kind of wool that I've been using from one of my favourite places to buy wool.
Washable.
Yep, all washable, all pretty hardy, easy to work with.
And light.
So, yes, we shall make an announcement very soon, because you and I need to get together and decide when our next session is going to be. We'll make an announcement about when the next group session is, where we all get together and make together and tell really interesting, funny and rude stories. Yeah.
Now, Pod, just before, I think off air, Heather made the comment that perhaps we should talk just briefly about how at a federal level the arts are no longer
visible.
Don't have their own
department.
Yeah, just make sure when you're talking, Heather, you talk straight in, so because we want to hear everything that you have to say, so talk straight into the
arts are not part of a title. They've supposedly been merged with, what is it?
Roads and Transport or something.
Roads and Transport and Infrastructure or something.
Yeah.
Which is an enormous opportunity. I've started crocheting a road.
Absolutely. I know.
We can crochet a road from Ballarat to Canberra.
Absolutely.
So actually there are quite a few sort of ideas to petition, demonstrations, all sorts of different things that we, the arts community and all you listeners, could rally around and organise ourselves around. So if people have some ideas and want to help Heather crocheting a road, I'm sure we'd all be into it.
Yes.
Well, I've
Absolutely.
got a little idea, but it's sort of cone of silence at the moment. So Ballarat Arts Alive will do some old school letter writing and lobbying.
Yes.
But there's some new school stuff that we might have a bit of a go at.
Okay, that we can't know about yet?
No.
Yeah. But, basically we are expressing our disappointment at this decision, because I've, it's the first time we haven't had a designated arts ministry for
Since Gough.
a very long time.
Gough Whitlam, yeah.
So
There is an arts minister, and that will be the defence, and there's some sense that nothing has changed, except it has, because we don't feel important. We can't, and the culture, your culture is expressed through art. We understand that with any other nation. We understand it with First Nations people, the fabric and the paintings, but we seem to be blind to the art that goes on day after day.
There's some kind of short-sightedness, for want of a better word. It's like the art is not separate from your normal everyday person walking. It's not just about us as artists or about art, making art as such.
It's about people reading books.
Yeah,
It's about
it permeates.
It's about people listening to this show.
Absolutely. And having the world more beautiful.
I think not that long ago, something else was happening in the arts community. I can't remember. Oh, it was the rolling back of the funding.
Yes.
And some artists were talking about going on strike, which, difficult, but imagine
Well, we
it.
don't get much
Imagine
now.
if anything arts and cultural just didn't happen for even a day.
Well, let's talk about taking all the arts things out of Parliament House.
And that would strip... Well, Parliament House, that building is a work of Australian artists.
Yes.
It's an artisan building. It's beautiful. It's furniture. It's everything.
Yeah,
Art is everywhere.
imbued with meaning around, what the materials that we used and
emblems.
Yeah. It's
Maybe we don't talk about art enough. I don't know. I don't understand how this can happen with such ease. So I'm a bit cross.
I'm a bit cross.
Watch this space.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm cross too. It's just
Don't do this. Don't make it that hard. We understand what creativity does more and more from a scientific point, neurological. We understand all of this more and more. Why now, when we need to use art to say all sorts of things, including things about violence and the environment? It's a safe place to do that conversation.
Yeah.
No sense.
So no sense, no. But we'll keep that conversation happening here on our program. We'll talk about it again next week and thrash out a few ideas and perhaps things that we think we could do to, not lose hope, I suppose. Well, no, I don't think, artists are never going to lose hope because we still. You always have your voice, don't you?
We do.
You can make art in your own way. You can essentially do whatever you like. Although you don't want to have it pulled out of galleries either at a moment's notice, like Abdullah had this week as well, had his work removed.
And that was needlepoint. It's beautiful. I'd love to see it here. It must be beautiful. People call it tapestry, but it's stitching.
Yeah.
Fine stitching.
Yeah. So there we are. So what else can you tell us about Heather Horrocks?
Well, I think I'm out of cone of silence with a little thing that's been going on. Booktown, which is fabulous.
Clunes Booktown?
Well, they've got an idea that I think is fabulous, and I'm going to help, is to have a book club symposium on the day before. So on the Friday before Booktown, those of us who are part of book clubs, and I belong to one which is fabulous because you don't actually have to read the book. Oh, I shouldn't say that. It's not compulsory. You don't lose points if you haven't
actually read the book.
But book clubs are a fabulous thing, and they're out there, and I think it's a good idea.
So a book club the day before
symposium.
Booktown. Symposium.
Just to talk about, to share what's good about yours.
So would this be something that you'd be leading?
No.
You just want to be part of it.
I'm crocheting it.
I think that would be a great...
Crocheting.
Well,
of course you
you'd
are.
have to bring your own crochets while you're talking. I was at our final book club event last night of my book club, and the husband of the host person came in, and he was intrigued how we were going with our discussions, and then we discovered that his book club runs the whole thing completely differently from us, and they discuss the books in a very different way. And I'm a bit sick of the way my book club had the discussion, and this week it was particularly absurd because none of us liked the book, and so
is it like different types of questions or a particular...
Someone finds the questions on the internet, I think, and then we follow the questions diligently. But the questions about this book, which was sort of a crime mystery, were sort of like comprehension, like, grade 4 comprehension questions. It was really ridiculous.
No, you don't want that. You don't want to do that.
Well,
Life's too short.
His book group, they go around the circle and each person has 5 minutes to talk about the book, what it did for them or whatever.
And nobody interrupts?
And nobody interrupts. And
Really?
then after that, they discuss and interrupt each other and, and if you haven't finished the book, you've got to bring a bottle of wine.
Oh.
That's
So for a really horrible book, I think they'd all just get drunk.
But see, there's e-books, there's audio books, there's a whole lot of other books now. So it's about the love of the book, but it is lots of different models for different needs, different people, long distance, all sorts of... Whether it's in libraries conduct them, the CAE used to do them, where do you buy your books? There's a whole heap of things to talk about.
Absolutely, your Kindle and all that kind. Do you have a Kindle?
I steal my husband's Kindle.
Do you use a Kindle? Oh, you're pretty committed to the
I would hate
paperback.
a Kindle.
Yeah.
I like holding the book. I like turning the pages and looking at the pictures.
So do I, but going overseas, if you really... It
can see the
drives me
use.
bananas, and I have to have it sideways because I can't stand the narrow page thing. But I've just thought of something. Because I've been ripping up books, which is the hardest, it's the most transgressive thing you can possibly do. But 52 women are exhibiting in Backspace Gallery at the moment, including Pod.
Oh, yes.
Yourself. It's a beautiful work.
Yes.
It is.
Mr. Curley was just extraordinary.
Thank
your
you.
work.
Yes. But I'm yet to go in and see it in the gallery because that, of course, that happened while I was away as well. But yeah, get in and see that. So, yes.
Just thought I'd put in a plug.
Oh yes, well of course. Well, while we're on the subject, yes, that is on at Backspace, so which is part of the Art Gallery of Ballarat. So these days you actually go in through the front door and out to the back of the gallery there, and it's the Sheila's group. Have you got work in it, Heather?
I have.
Yes.
I stole things from the Harvey Normal bins to do a very large paper mache cake stand. I had a lovely time. I had glue from one end to the house.
Sounds fabulous. Yes, I must get in and have a look at that properly. So that's
It's beautiful.
That's actually on until I think maybe late January.
Early January.
Oh, early January. So it is a bit longer than usual, but because of the summer, Christmas kind of period. So that only opened, I think, Friday night, and I believe there was a very, very good crowd there, which is good to hear.
There was. Well, a lot of people, of course.
And the director of the Art Gallery, Louise Tegart, opened the exhibition and
Who spoke quite strongly about some of the issues around women's art.
Oh, good.
Fabulous.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a transcript. I wouldn't mind hearing that. Oh, what sort of things did she say?
Well, she said that there was some... Well, first up, the Countess report. Ballarat has not always been... That's the report, a bit like the Guerrilla Girls in New York, that looks at the amount of women's art on the walls, how many exhibitions. And Ballarat is coming good with that, but it's taken a bit of a while. And there's a bit of a view, apparently, that Backspace Gallery is a women's gallery.
Is that
but
so?
It's an open... Well, the representation of women is very high, but it's an open application process. And as Louise said, 85% of the applicants were women. So that makes a bit of a bias, really.
Interesting.
Bias.
Yeah.
I love what's happening at the gallery, and I love the fact that it's run by women.
Well, having said that, we're just about to speak to Peter Freund about the very exciting summer launch and summer program that's happening. It's all being launched on Saturday. Lots of really exciting stuff happening. But thank you so much, Heather Horrocks, for coming in this evening and delighting us with your tales about crochet and craft.
I'll take my wool now.
And of
Peter
course,
wants to learn to.
Well, I reckon we could probably convince him. And of course, you'll know Heather because she wears the green hat and the green glasses and the green clothes this evening. So you'll see her coming. Yeah.
Any workshop with green things in is, I just hoover up.
Thank you so much. It's been great to have you in the studio. And am I playing some of this music
Yes,
now?
you
Am
are.
I? So I'm just going to change over CDs here, and I'm going to play Singers of the Black Book 2019. And part of the reason I'm doing that is because our next guest, Peter Freund, of course, is one of the
Singers of the Black Book.
One
And
of the singers.
This is their first album. It's pretty exciting. It's new. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to press play, and I think we're going to be... I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. We'll wait until Peter comes in.
Yes.
And we'll be back with more of the arts program very shortly. Thank you very much, Heather.
Pleasure, thank you.
Ale, sale, tecum luia.
Ale, sale, tecum luia.
Ale, concrepando, sale, tecum luia.
Ale, concrepando, sale, tecum luia.
Ale, cor devoto, deo, toto, sale, tecum luia.
Ale, corde voto Deo, toto, sale, tecum luia.
Ale, sale, tecum luia.
Ale, sale, tecum luia.
Ale, concrepando, sale, tecum luia.
Ale, concrepando, sale, tecum luia.
Ale, cor devoto, deo, toto, sale, tecum luia.
Ale, corde voto Deo, toto, sale, tecum luia.
Well, that was Ale.
Ale salite cum luia.
Oh, that was
All
lovely.
praise with joy.
So, Peter Freund, that is from your very first album, is this correct?
Fourth coming out. Well, there was a small taster album produced a few years ago when Singers of the Black Book were in our first phase, and lately we recorded this over the last year or so, and then Gordon Morrison, one of our number, departed off down to Melbourne, so it's been harder to get together. So we sort of haven't done much in the last few months. So we figured, with Christmas coming on and Christmas gifts, CDs, they're very, something to put in the stocking.
Oh, indeed, and that
And we're
sounded
doing a gig
really lovely. So there's a gig coming up at the
gig
Arc. Is it at
at
the
the
Arc Gallery?
Trades Hall.
Oh, Trades Hall. Yeah.
on Friday night,
Oh,
starting about 8:30.
okay.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, a very sombre and solemn occasion.
Sounds appropriate for Singers of the Black Book.
I reckon. Yes.
So how many numbers will you be performing?
Oh, I don't know. A feast. A veritable feast. I hope you don't get indigestion.
It sounds fantastic. So do people need to book
No,
for that?
just turn up and get tickets at the door.
Okay.
What time, Peter?
Probably, I think it's advertised from 7, but realistically it probably won't start till about 8, I think, because there's an opening at the Post Office Gallery
Oh, indeed.
for the university earlier that evening, so we'll wait for people to get over
Yep.
to Trades Hall from Post Office
Right.
Gallery.
Now, are you donating this to the arts program, this copy, or
That
not?
is my own personal copy.
Okay.
There's none to be had.
I know that was a bit
Yes.
rude of me, but I just thought I'd check. I just thought I'd get that out of the way.
Well, if you promise to play it for the next few weeks, okay, you can have it.
Okay.
How's that?
Oh, look, no, we don't want to. Seriously, we don't want to deprive
So you mean you
but-
don't want to have it even?
I'll play
Okay.
it heaps.
Well, we'll play it. We do have a collection, but of course we'll play it. But I don't want to deprive you of your CD. But
Yeah,
yes,
no.
we'd love to have it.
That's right, I'll
Thank
give
you.
another one on the weekend.
Now, Peter, the summer launch at the Art Gallery
Yes.
is coming up this
Yes,
Saturday
that's
as well.
right.
This Saturday, the
Big
14th.
event for us.
Indeed, there's so much happening, isn't
Yeah,
there?
well, because there's 4 exhibitions on over the summer, and we did this last year. We did a joint event for them all, rather than having an opening, which sort of wears gallery staff out. It just
Yeah.
puts pressure on everybody. So we gather them all together and do a joint event, making it a community event, because the shows relate to animals in some way. We're taking an animals theme, and so we're trying to make it a bit of an attractor for families by putting in a petting zoo.
And are you going to be wearing a onesie, Peter?
There's a thought.
There is a
There's a
thought.
thought. It could be a black one.
Yeah, good.
And stay overnight from Singers of the Black Book and turn up again on the Saturday.
But a petting zoo, excellent.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
where they bring along little goats.
Goats and lambs and things, animals that are very accustomed to being handled by kids. They've been brought up with a lot of handling, so they're not under stress or anything. and it's very well managed. And there's also a guy called Kevin Parker who does a little bird circus, mini circus. He has been doing this
A bird
ever since he was
circus.
about 10 years old, spotted at the Clunes show doing it. We thought, that might be good for the end of the year event.
So is he doing that
So they have
inside?
sort of little, cockatoos which go on a swing and things like that. Yeah.
That sounds cute.
And he has a
That
little,
sounds fun.
He has a patter as well.
Yeah.
So that'll be outside. That'll be under the veranda at Huey House. So the petting zoo will be out on Alfred Deakin Place, and then Kevin will be setting up the Parker's mini circus in underneath the Huey House veranda
hope
outside
his-
backspace.
Hope his birds don't fly away.
Oh no! That's all. He's been doing it for years.
Right.
Yeah.
Very
have it
well
all on
And
timed.
then inside there'll be a bar, and we'll have some performances. The well-known Funky Turtles band will be appearing.
Funkies. Haven't heard them for ages.
So they're still up and they're still going.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey Williams is going to do a performance based on our exhibitions.
Yeah.
And the various artists involved in the exhibition will be giving little artist talks as well.
And so we've got Curious Creatures, which is being curated by Julie
So
McLaren. is
Dark
it?
Horse, it's called.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
The subheading is Wild Beasts and Curious Creatures. So that's in the Potter Gallery, and that includes also the big puppy. People may have seen online this image of Jeff Bonney's puppy made out of big gold Christmas baubles.
I think Jeff was
Yes.
on the
Sort of
show
Jeff
last
Coonish
week, wasn't
sort
he? Yeah.
Is there a puppy to that big dog?
Well, there is, but we're not having it, which is Jeff is a bit disappointed that we're not.
Oh.
He would have liked to have them both together, but because that space is used for events, it's
Right, there's no room for
yeah.
the
As far
puppy.
as the deal was that we had the one,
Yes.
and he really wanted the second one, but we hadn't agreed to that, and there's been
Right,
two. And
right.
Yeah, the result is it's just the one.
Right. Which is huge.
It is enormous.
Yes.
But we have to allow for other events in that space,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it
yeah.
just becomes.
So what's the big puppy of Jeff Bonney's? What's it actually made out of?
Well, it's a steel frame, but then it's plastic, big gold plastic Christmas baubles are then screwed onto the basic
Onto the
armature frame.
It's quite an engineering feat, Jeff was saying,
And
actually.
he's done it in partnership with a local engineering firm.
Yeah, and he told me a little bit of a backstory about it. When his daughter was quite young, somebody gave her a brooch, a tiny little brooch that was very like that, with little balls of, goodness knows what they were, pretend pearls or something, I suppose. And Jeff always thought, I want to make a really big version
But
of
he
that.
vowed to himself that one day.
Yeah, one day, and here it is.
So is it assembled on site, or does it
He
come
was,
in
yeah,
as like
no,
the
It
big?
came in the frame, and
Yeah.
then it was all assembled on site. So that's the centrepiece of the McCain, and really looks fantastic.
Is it the first time it's been exhibited? This
I
piece?
believe it. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, and it because the McCain Hall is a really difficult space. It's a sort of big empty space. And there's works hanging on the walls, but this really fills up the centre
Yeah.
of the space. It looks fantastic.
And as you said, similar to a those larger than life Jeff Koons
That's right.
pieces.
So that's Dark Horse. Then there's Troy Emery, which has been up for a while.
Yes.
Creatures sort of dripping with gold polyester and different colours.
They're amazing creatures, aren't
You
they?
have to have big signs saying, please do not touch, because everybody
Yeah.
who goes past just wants to
Because they.
pat and touch. And,
Yeah, because they look like creatures, and yet they don't look like creatures
right,
in a sense.
yeah.
You can't see a face or, a lot of, sort of that usual creature form, I suppose. They're kind of blob-like, but really amazing.
Yeah.
they're quite entrancing, aren't they? Enchanting,
So
entrancing.
They sort of get a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And Jeff Bonney's main show, there's his work in Dark Horse, the puppy, but his own show is of paintings.
Pangrams, is that what it's called?
Pangrams it's called, yeah. And it's to do with text and image. So sort of burying letters within sort of blocks of colour. And there's a sort of a design for each letter of the alphabet, which then, because of the pangram, a quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog, we're tying that show in with animals. It's not really. And then, and so it's a sort of game with the viewer that you know there's a word buried in there somewhere, and the title is a clue to it, and then you have to try and work out exactly what the word is. So it's just a little
That's a bit of fun.
bit of playing with the audience. Yeah, it's fun, and they really look spectacular in the show. They're in there in the Timken Gallery that you first come into, the gallery. And then finally, a different sort of whole dimension to animals, which is sort of animatronic, electronic animals, which is Cake Industries. Jesse Stevens and Dean Peterson, who have a whole practice of building animatronic creations. So this is in the Selkirk Gallery. It used to be the Eureka Flag Room. There is a creature.
Did the gallery commission them to create this creature?
So it was with some funding support from Creative Victoria, and it's sort of like it's in a cage because it has to be protected from
Little fingers.
and all that sort of stuff because it's some hazard. So it's sort of like a creature in a zoo, but it's an electronic creature that occupies that space. And then they've got in the Mars Gallery next to it a whole series of other works that they've done over the last few years. So that's sort of electronic creatures that we're linking it into the show. And so, Troy's going to be doing a talk in the afternoon, I think at 1 o'clock. Jeff will be doing a talk at 3:30. Kate doing a talk at 4, and then there's a sort of centrepiece of performances and stuff happening in the McCain Hall in the centre of the day. There'll be a bar.
What time does all of this kick off?
It kicks off from 1 o'clock and the petting zoo and everything will be there from 1. And then we'll have a bar in the McCain Hall. The bar will, at around sort of 4 o'clock, it sort of moves from kids and families through to more there's a DJ playing, and we'll move to a pay bar, and it sort of gets a bit more chilled. And
so is it open later than 5? Does it go after 5?
I think the latest that we will be planning to open is 6.
Yeah.
Which actually ties in because we've actually, as if we're sort of gluttons of punishment, we've actually got a piano concert. Well, it's not more than piano, a concert up in the Oddie Gallery, which is being presented in partnership with the Ballarat Italian Association, an touring Italian pianist, Lucia Brighenti. But also she's supported by Kavisha Mazzella. She may be a familiar name. Kavisha, yeah. So, and she's bringing her bouzouki player, Jack Norton, as well. So they're sort of support act, and then Lucia Brighenti after that. So
that'll be great.
Yeah, it's a big day.
And then we go off for a
big day.
pizza, to celebrate the Italian.
Yeah, well, why not?
Yeah, whole night.
And I know, Peter, last year it was a huge day. It went off, didn't it, at the gallery this time last year?
Yeah, we're expecting to draw a lot of people, and there's some fun things to do. So.
I think the weather's looking really good for Saturday. I think it's going to be just perfect.
Yeah, about 22 degrees.
About 22 degrees.
Clouds, sun.
Yeah, so great for the petting zoo, great for the animals.
Yeah, so we're still licking our wounds after the fringe benefits, and
I was away, but I heard about it.
Sort of the coldest night in November.
I heard about it in Cuba.
So it's always such a lottery.
Yeah,
and I think we're lucky.
indeed.
We're going to be lucky with the summer launch. I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if it gets around 30 degrees, the petting zoo just wouldn't come. Because they've got... It's on bluestone paving, so they have to put down straw for the animals anyway. But just the retained heat in that stone, it's just not fair. They can't in terms of animal welfare, they really can't do it. So they warned us that was going to be a proviso. So I've been watching the weather nervously. Yeah, good.
So 4 exciting temporary exhibitions that will be on over the summer, as well as the beautiful permanent collection, which of course is always
January,
there.
There's some, we've got our usual arts and art camp school holiday programs happening in the 2nd, 3rd week of January, and they're activities that relate to animals again. Troy Emery's going to be sort of guest artist on one of those for 1 week as a 1 day out of the 3. And Jeff Bonney's going to be guest artist for the other one. And we've got a drop-in art activity day on the 10th of January. And then into February, there's some more community workshops, a printmaking workshop by Jasmina Chininas, who's got a work in the Dark Horse exhibition. Troy Emery's going to be doing a community workshop again. working on aspects of what he does as well. So yeah, it's a pretty strong program, and really 4 really exciting shows.
Absolutely, yeah.
I had great fun. Sorry, folks, for those of you who don't know, I had to disappear out of the studio for a while there, so I missed the secrets you were talking about. But when I went to see Jeff Bonney's pangrams, it was really fun, like staring at them until you got the word. And I just found that very entertaining.
How many pangrams are there?
I think there may be 6 or 7 big ones.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Did you figure them all out, Lynden?
I did.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell, though.
I think we know what one of them is, but it's a matter of finding which one it is, isn't it?
And then there's the whole sentence in much smaller ones. But it's interesting in terms of colour. You being a colour freak, Prod.
Yes, I shall be heading in there very soon to check all of this out. Yes.
A veritable riot of colour.
It is.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And and anything else we need to know about? I think that's plenty happening at the gallery.
Yes, we're open right through the summer. We're closed Christmas Day, Boxing Day are the only days, so it's always nice and cool because we have to keep it cool for the arts so the people benefit.
Yes.
So yeah, get in there. It's a great place to hang out in the summer.
10 a.m. till 5 p.m. generally.
That's right.
Kittledy's Cafe there at the side as well, serving up beautiful cakes all the time, as well as other food, as well as the cakes. Yeah. And good luck with your the Singers of the Black Book on Friday night as well.
$10 entry, so it doesn't cost much, and you can pick up a CD at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're sort of launching the CD?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and there's some Christmas material in the program, in the lineup. So basically, the first half of the program we'll sing through the CD substantially, and then have a bit of a break, and then we'll sing some old favourites, including some of the rounds the sort of drinking rounds that we used to sing as well. So it's rather suggestive lyrics.
How long
Remind
have I sing?
everybody who the 4 people are.
Well, there's actually 5 of us because
5 of you.
we were myself and Gordon Morrison. We started singing around the gallery. We were joined by Stephen Werner, who was working casually at the gallery. He brought in Garth Horsfield, so that made the 4 of us that we really sort of set up the Singers of the Black Book with. And then Stephen inconveniently went off to teach in China, and so we recruited Daniel Lamech to come in and join us.
Right.
And so then we were the second Singers of the Black Book Mark II.
Yeah.
But then Stephen returned from China, so he's sort of joined us as sort of he's going to join in some things, and we'll double up on some of the parts. So there's actually going to be
that'll be interesting.
5 of us. And there's never been a 5-person Singers of the Black Book before, so it's a one-off. And who knows whether we'll have a life after this. It might be our last concert. We might continue to get together to see how it goes here. And I guess if there's lots of people and it's really popular. Yeah.
How long have you been singing together?
Longer than I care to remember.
What, 10 years?
Maybe. Probably maybe 8, I think, because I started working at the gallery 2010, so that'd been 9 years ago, and it was a bit after that Gordon and I started singing. So, maybe 2012 or so about 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
And you're singing with another group as well, aren't you?
I sing with Vox, which is a rather more serious outfit, and there's 6 of us, and we're actually working on guys, I get asked by a lot of people, what's happening? Are you doing a Christmas concert? So Vox isn't doing a Christmas concert, but we are doing a Valentine's Day concert, which we're working for on the 14th of February, as you might expect. And that's also going to be at Trades Hall now, I think we've just decided, because the gallery's got other commitments.
And the Trades Hall is trying to get develop a bit of a profile for music.
Well, they are. There's a lot happening there.
And it's a good sound in there. It's a good capacity. They've got a bar. Yeah, no, it's great.
Central.
Yeah,
it's good.
Well, thank you very much, Peter Freund.
That's all right.
For coming in.
You're going to play another track?
I thought we might play Babylon is Fallen.
Oh, yeah, why not?
Yeah, track number 2 from the self-titled Singers of the Black Book 2019 with all of your mugs on the front. Yeah,
so Babylon is Fallen. This is an old sort of shape note hymn from the sort of southern United States. And,
Okay, well, we'll have a listen to that, and thank you very much for coming in.
Pleasure.
People, make sure you get along to the Art Gallery of Ballarat this Saturday.
Between 1 and, say, 5.
5. There's the summer launch, and there's all sorts of stuff for families, adults,
Yep.
singles, doubles, all sorts. So
That's
there's
right.
lots to do, lots
We
to see.
welcome diversity.
Don't miss out.
Always. Yep.
Indeed. All right, well, let's have a listen to Babylon is Falling, and thanks for adding a new CD to our collection.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Hail the day so long expected, hail the year of full release. Zion's walls are now erected, and her watchmen publish peace. Through our Shiloh's wide dominion, hear the trumpet loudly roar. Babylon is fallen, is fallen, is fallen. Babylon is fallen to rise no more. All her merchants stand with wonder. What is this that comes to pass? Murmuring like the distant thunder, crying, oh, alas, alas. Swell the sound, ye kings and nobles, priest and people, rich and poor. Babylon is fallen, is fallen, is fallen. Babylon is fallen to rise no more. Blow the trumpet in Mount Zion, Christ shall come a second time, ruling with a rod of iron, all who now as foes combine. Babel's garments we've rejected, and our fellowship is o'er. Babylon is fallen, is fallen, is fallen. Babylon is fallen to rise no more. Babylon is fallen, is fallen, is fallen. Babylon is fallen to rise no more.
Well, we're enjoying this new CD from the singers of the Black Book, and of course we just had Peter Freund in the studio. This is a new CD, Singers of the Black Book. I think it's, well, they're launching it this Friday night at Trades Hall, so that one is called Babylon is Fallen. We will have the opportunity to play more of that before the end of the show, I think. So thank you very much, Peter Freund, for donating that to the arts program.
Yes.
We really appreciate it. Now we have Susan Clarke in the studio. Welcome, Susan. We're going to need to turn your microphone around a little bit so that you can speak directly into the front of it so we can hear everything you have to say.
That's better.
Welcome. Yes, that's great.
It's lovely to be back again.
Yeah, well, you're a reasonably kind of semi-regular guest of ours. You're probably one of our most frequent flyers, I'd
I've been
say.
on about 2 times.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought more than that. Anyway, you've always got lots happening, so we like having you on the show. And one of the things you've been doing, we've got a few things to talk about with you, but you've been making these some beautiful Christmas trees.
Yes, I was talking to Trudy Nicholson at Bunninyong a few weeks ago, and she was involved in the Christmas tree project over there. That the men's shed had made these Christmas trees, and they wanted artists to paint them. And I said, "Oh, is it only for people in Bunninyong to do it?" She said, "No, you can have one and have a go." Well, I fell in love with all the patterns and the colour, and I can see why you love patterns and colour.
Yeah.
I just got involved in all this mark making and everything on them, and it was a real lot of fun. So I'm on my second one now.
Yeah, so yes, you've been posting it onto social media, and I think the Christmas tree that you have sold, it was very I suppose Hunterwasser kind of like, wasn't it? Yeah, beautiful colour and spirals, which I love, and it looks like a fun Christmas tree.
It was.
Yeah.
It was fun. Yeah.
So gone off to a happy new home for someone to enjoy for many, many years to come, because they're made of wood. They're a lovely.
What they said when they bought it, we're going to use this for a long, long time.
Yeah.
It was great.
So the men's shed made them, didn't they?
I think the men's shed over in Bunninyong made them.
Yeah, which is great. What a good idea.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you don't ever have to buy a Christmas tree ever again, don't you? Once you have one of those. So, yeah, and lots of I've been seeing a lot of the different designs popping up on Facebook, and people are having a lot of fun with those. And I think there was a special event recently where you had them all on display somewhere,
It was
an
over
event
the
out of
Bunninyong Town
Bunninyong.
Hall.
Yeah,
Yes,
that must have looked gorgeous.
And they were selling them to raise some money for the men's shed.
For the men's shed.
The soup bus.
Oh, right.
And I think they're planning to do the same thing next year.
Yeah.
So
It's a great idea
it's a
for
good
sure.
project.
And now you've started on your second one as well. You're doing another one at the moment.
Yes, I'm doing another one at the
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
Hopefully finished by the weekend.
I have to say, Sue, that you are a very busy artist. You do a lot, don't you? Like you're running lots of. I reckon one of the first times I met you was probably at that lino print class we were doing with Jimmy Pasakos a few years ago.
Oh,
wasn't it?
yes, at the night classes that he
and
ran.
it's like you've kind of just never stopped ever since then. Like you learnt lino printing, and you run the classes, and they've been really successful, haven't
They're
they?
still successful.
Yeah, they always book out. You
Pretty
run,
much,
or you
pretty
also
much, I
run
always
your
book out.
at the trades hall.
I run them at the trades.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic space. They have so many things happening there. It's a fantastic venue.
Yeah,
And
and so you do that on a fairly regular basis, don't
I'm
you?
doing them now about twice a month on a Saturday mainly.
Yeah, and there's just always that interest in. Is it mainly lino prints that you do, or are you doing
lino
other?
prints. I do dry point, and I've started fabric printing sessions as well. So I'm sort of diversifying a little bit with what I'm doing,
You really are.
and it's.
Do you
Yeah.
use at the trades hall? Do you use that sort of basement room?
I use the basement
Yeah,
room,
yeah,
and
I
in the
love that
summer
one.
it's cool, and in the winter it doesn't get too cold, and it's a really fantastic space.
Yeah.
It is. It's interesting. What
And
was
it's like a secret.
so? What was that room originally? It is quite an extraordinary
Someone
room,
did
isn't it?
tell me once, but I've forgotten. Because there's a kitchen right next to
There's
as
a
well.
kitchen there, so it's very, very. very
Is it
nice
actually
space.
underground, that room? Because you do go down a ramp,
No,
don't you?
you can
But it's
get
not.
outside the back
Oh,
door. Yeah.
okay.
No, it's not underground.
So with your fabric printing, how are you doing that? It's not screen printing.
No, it's not screen printing. It's using lino or other medium.
Yeah, to print directly onto fabric.
Yeah, to print
So what sort of
using
ink?
fabric ink.
What
There's
sort of?
various types of fabric ink. You can use the oil-based ink that you use for your normal printmaking on paper. You have to iron it to seal it. Or there's other fabric inks that other companies produce. And it's a matter of because it was a whole new process for me. It was a matter of experimenting to see what worked the best with what I was doing. And I think I've worked out now how to print some printing items now. I print bags and I print aprons and things
Yeah.
for myself. So it's been a really good learning.
That would be lots of fun. Of course, you could easily do scarves.
Yes.
You buy white shirts and print
Yes,
white
all
shirts.
sorts
Got new
of things.
t-shirts.
All sorts of things.
Also, trousers.
Anything. You can print anything, I think.
Yeah.
So
Wow,
it's
what
a bit of
fun. When are you doing that one next?
That one's in January the 18th, but that's pretty well booked out.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
I've got another class on January the 11th that I could do with a few more people in, but
Yeah.
it's over summer holidays, so I suppose people are away. So I'm looking for people for
And
that class.
would you teach a group in one session, going back to the lino printing, do you teach people how to do that in like one session, or is it a day-long session?
It's a
or
4-hour session.
Yeah.
I print 2 plates usually, and have about 10 prints to take away with them in most cases.
Oh, gosh.
So
And dry point? Tell us a little bit about that. How are you
dry
doing
point's
that?
an intaglio technique where the ink goes into the line, whereas with lino printing the ink goes on the surface. So it's a relief print, so it's a little bit different.
So often with the dry point, the result is a very fine line, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a more fun. If you like drawing, it's a technique that I think that you really enjoy.
Can you explain the technique for me? I understand lino printing, but can you explain the technique of dry point?
You can either use copper plates or you can use the plastic PVC plates, and you scratch with a sharp tool or a scribe into the surface, and it creates a burr which holds the ink. You put the ink onto the surface and then you take the ink off, and the remaining ink stays in the line.
Stays in the little gully.
That you etched.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
okay.
scratch the surface.
Whereas in lino cut, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Sort of opposite way
Yeah.
around.
The ink sits on the surface.
Yes,
Yeah.
Although you can do dry point onto lino, but I haven't done that yet myself. So the ink goes into
And
the
then you'd
surface.
put the paper on top, and then
And you
you.
dampen the paper because it needs to go into the lines with the dry point. So it's a nice process. It's a much messier process.
Yeah. And so what are you working into when you're doing the dry point?
I've done copper and I've done the plastic. Yeah. Don't know how easy the copper is to come by. I don't know if...
Well, I think it was in short supply there for a while and became very expensive, and people were stealing it from,
There was a place opposite the showgrounds that used to cut it into sheets, but they've gone. I don't know where they've gone to. Someone might know.
Oh.
That's a fun process too.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying the teaching process and sharing. I think I've had over 100 people come to my classes.
Yeah, you clearly love it because...
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And everyone's so different. And during this last 12 months, I've been to Cobden and as part of the Phoenix project, which is to do with the bushfires down there, and shared some printmaking with a group of people who've been involved in the bushfires. And the organiser of that has been running different programs with the arts all year and encouraging people to be involved with everything. And that was wonderful to be as part of that group. And I'd love to go back there again and do some more work with them, but that was fun.
Where was that? Cobden. Where's that?
Down near Camperdown.
Over in the sort of western...
I didn't realise they had fires down there.
Around Garvick Terang, beginning of last year, there was a big bushfire.
Yeah.
A lot of places were burned. So that was fun.
And
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic thing for communities that are healing and re-establishing to be able to do, to sort of get their hands into some creative work.
I think Malcolm Sanders was involved in something the other weekend down there as well.
Yeah.
To do with a singing activity they had at in the gardens, at someone's gardens.
Oh, right.
So there's a lot of things happening.
Yeah.
Positive for the arts. It's really, really good.
And you often have your work in various what am I trying to say? You do the not craft fairs, but you often have it set up stalls at various
I do the occasional markets.
That's the word I'm trying to think of.
I do the occasional markets, but I've stopped now because it's summer. It's going to be too hot. Yeah. So I'm not going to do any until March next year.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I'm involved with the Ballarat Society of Artists summer exhibition.
Yes.
Some of my artwork's in there at the moment.
Yes, and of course that happens at the Trades Hall.
That happens again at the Trades Hall. We've had a relationship with the Trades Hall for the last, I think, 4 years.
So you guys seem to exhibit pretty regularly at Trades Hall.
We do. We've got a really good relationship.
Yeah. So how often? Because I remember not that long ago you had another. How often are you doing that?
It's been twice a year. The last couple of years.
And there are quite a few members of the group, aren't there?
Yes, there's about over 60 to 70 members. Not all of them exhibit now. We've got about 27 exhibiting at this exhibition.
Yeah. So, and the work's for sale, of course.
The work's all for sale.
So, good Christmas present opportunities.
Yes, and we've also included unframed works as well. And we've brought in a bit of merchandise too.
I went today, Pod, so there's a huge variety of cards, done in all sorts of different media.
Lots of different mediums, yes.
And
lots of different styles.
Some of your aprons and bags.
Yes, aprons and bags. I've
so there's quite a lot of things, as well as bigger artworks, and just the range of work is quite large. But it's just I found it really great to see so many people with different styles putting up their work, being proud of it, having it on display.
It's great to see, and it's great to see that relationship formed with Trades Hall as well, and having somewhere else to exhibit. It's good to see.
Yes, it's fantastic.
And I suppose the opening hours would be generally business hours.
We have an ongoing exhibition in the corridor downstairs, which leads to the small room where I run my print classes, and that's run from 9 till 5 every day. During the whole year. We have a small art exhibition changing every month down there. But we also, this one we're running now, we're sitting there, so we're there from 10 till 4, looking after the artworks and everything, and being there in case people want to purchase something.
Yep.
But it's a wonderful space.
Easy to find. Lots of people know where Trades Hall is, but in Camp Street. And I know you usually put an A-frame out the front as well, don't you?
A-frame up on Sturt Street at the moment, and there's a big sign up on the Trades Hall building as well.
Yeah. So it's in Camp Street, everybody's opposite of Alfred Deakin Place.
Yeah. It's in Camp Street.
Yeah. And in the arts precinct, I would call it.
Yes, that's what we're part of the arts precinct. Yes, it's very important to be part of that area. And we're really excited because a couple of months ago we obtained a community impact grant from the council.
Oh, did you?
And they provided us with funds to purchase some new covers for our screens. And they're black covers, and the artwork looks absolutely brilliant.
Oh, because I think previously, like a lot of those screens,
Hessian,
people would Hessian on. Yeah, oh, that's great.
And it looks really, really good.
Oh,
It makes all the art
good.
pop. And we lend those screens to school groups, and other groups sometimes hire them from us. So we've got these new screens ready for
Fantastic. So now, the Ballarat Society of Artists, do you accept new members? Can people join?
Yes.
What's the go there?
Most welcome to join. Our membership goes from February until the following February. We're in recess now over January, and we don't have our next meeting until the first Saturday of the month.
And are the meetings generally out in
In Brown Hill.
Brown Hill, yes.
Brown Hill in the Uniting Church in
Yeah.
Frey Street.
Yeah. How often do you have those?
Once a month,
Once a month.
10:30 in the morning on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's the Ballarat Society of Artists, is that its term? I'm just wondering what other things happen, so there are meetings. What would the meetings talk about? The upcoming exhibitions?
Whatever we're planning to do next.
Yeah.
The beginning of the coming year is usually quite busy. We have our annual art exhibition, which is over in the Robert Clarke Centre. It's over Easter. We're involved at the Begonia Festival usually with a children's activity, which is a lot of fun. And we have art for sale there as well. And that's quite a busy time.
So it's basically about how to profile your members' works, I suppose, really,
Yes, it's one
in different
way.
ways. Yeah.
And also
Okay.
to encourage art in the community.
Yeah.
Because part of our charter is
So
to
just make
encourage
sure
art.
that you talk. I know it's a bit
Part
hard
of
because
our
you're trying
charter
to.
is to
Yeah, you've got to
encourage
pretend you're at the cricket.
is to encourage people to be involved in the arts and encourage arts in the community.
So what's your membership like at the moment? How many have you got in the group?
Around about 70, I think.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
group, yeah. So if people want... so tell us more about your charter. So you encourage, arts in the community and for people to be involved. What else is in the charter? That's probably the main thing, which is a great thing. It's a great focus to have for the
I think it's
society.
It's encouraging our own art too.
Yeah, yeah.
And just to be involved with the community.
Yeah.
Hence the being involved in the Begonia Festival is really, really
Well,
important.
it just gives individual artists an opportunity to be part of something bigger, to be part of a...
And sharing art together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because art can be, if you're on your own painting, it's very isolating.
Oh, it really is.
So it's lovely to be able to share.
Well, I think
what
one
we do
of
together.
the great things about groups like that too is if you're new to town, and we often hear about artists that are new, we see them pop up on the Ballarat Arts Alive Facebook page, but it's a great place to start as well, to start your community, like to meet people and
Yes,
get
we just had a
involved.
new
and-
member join the last few weeks who's moved to Ballarat recently, been involved in art societies in other parts of Victoria and found us and
Yeah.
has joined up.
Yeah, so it's very easy to find. You have a Facebook page, you also probably have a
Facebook,
website.
we do have a website
yeah.
now. And
How much is a membership for the 12 months?
for 12 months, it's $100 joining fee, which includes the membership for the year in it as well.
And so,
And
and
then
that would
after that
include your
will be-
exhibitions and like being able to
Exhibitions,
exhibit.
we charge a little bit
Yeah.
for the entry
Yeah,
for each picture.
yeah.
But it's and we usually we've had you as a guest speaker at our meetings, and we have guest speakers during the year.
Yeah, cup of
And
tea,
we run-
nice
and we-
morning. You have a nice morning tea.
Yeah, lovely morning.
Yeah.
We run workshops
Yeah,
where members can learn.
yeah. Fantastic.
Guest presenters. We ran one on the 30th of last month with Lily Mae Martin,
Oh, yes.
and we used the gallery annex.
So drawing?
For
Was
drawing.
it drawing? Yeah.
I couldn't get to that one, but everyone said it was absolutely wonderful.
I bet, yeah.
With pen
Yeah.
and ink, I think it was.
Yeah.
So we're trying to provide opportunities for our members to learn from other artists as well.
Oh, terrific. And are you one of the committee members, Susan? I know you've got your little badge
I've got
on
my
there.
badge on from this afternoon. Yes, I am on the committee. I'm
Yeah.
the assistant secretary and I'm the membership secretary.
Very busy.
Yes.
Very
So
busy.
how do people contact you if they were to want to join?
If you want to join, there's usually leaflets at the art gallery. We do have some at Radmac, and there should be some at Riot Art when I take some more down there. Come into our exhibition at the Trades Hall, which is on until the 21st of December, and there's leaflets.
Or
there.
you have a website?
Yes.
The Ballarat Society of Artists has a
Yeah.
website. Yes, yes.
Well, that's so you can join up, folks, and I would encourage you to do that and get involved with this very active, often exhibiting group. Wonderful. Yeah,
It's great. We're always after new members. with different
and it's good to have that the new people coming in to help out with the committee as well, because that's a lot of work. Keeping all of the secretarial work and all that kind of thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
Sharing everything around is great.
And especially when you're having those regular meetings as well, like once a month, that's pretty frequent, isn't it? And a lot of organising and getting morning teas ready and all that sort of stuff.
It's fun. We enjoy it. It's wonderful. It's wonderful to share art with.
Yeah, for sure. Well, congratulations to you personally on your vibrancy around the arts community and your commitment to the arts and your involvement and everything like that, and your wonderful Christmas trees.
Thank you very much.
They're really nice. Nice way to finish the year creatively, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Well,
thank you.
Well, we have a little bit of music before we do what's on.
Music and then what's on.
Yeah. We're going to listen again to the Singers of the Black Book 2019, and the next track is David's Lamentation. So let's have a listen to that, and we'll be back with more. When we come back, we're going to talk what's on.
We are.
That's what we're going to do. Thank you very much, Susan Clarke, for coming in this evening.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. We'll be back in a minute.
David the king was grieved and moved. He went to his chamber and wept. And as he went, he wept and said, "O my son, O my son, would to God I had died, would to God I had died, would to God I had died for thee, O Absalom, my son, my son." And as he went, he wept and said, "O my son, O my son, would to God I had died, would to God I had died, would to God I had died for thee, O Absalom, my son, my son."
So you're listening to the arts program. That was Singers of the Black Book 2019, and they're going to be performing at Trades Hall this Friday evening. They'll be doing some more tunes from the CD and some of their older works as well.
And
so
a couple of Christmas numbers.
Oh, that's right, a couple of Christmas numbers. So Trades Hall this Friday night, $10, I think Peter said. So get along to that. That'll be lovely. And look, thank you to all of our guests this evening for coming in and joining in the fun. It's always great to have our local creatives come in and discuss what they're doing, and we really appreciate their time, don't we, Lynden? Because it's a big ask.
And
you know,
they came on an adventure tonight, Pod, because none of them had ever been to, the new studio.
It's all a bit new for us, so we appreciate, because we grill them, don't we? We ask lots and lots of questions and really get the most out of our guests, so we appreciate all of that. But now we're going to do our regular What's On segment, aren't we?
We are.
Can I just mention, first of all, the Reverb exhibition at the Post Office Gallery? So this is, it's called Reverb Return to the 90s. So it's work from anyone that was studying at the Arts Academy, or whatever the Arts Academy was called during the 90s. Any of those students, but they will be exhibiting at the Post Office Gallery during this exhibition. So that opens this Friday evening, the 13th, 6:34, 7 p.m. So get along to that. You'll probably see a lot of people you know.
You could go to that and then rock on to the Singers of the...
Yeah, I think that's what Peter was suggesting. So what else was I going to say about that? Oh, yes. So what I was trying to say about the Arts Academy is the title of that of the art school has changed over the years. It's had different names. So I think, well, at the moment it's called the Arts Academy, but it would have been called something different back in the 90s. So
Yeah, well, it was it's
the School of Arts or something like that.
Yeah, higher ed section of...
So last year it was the 80s, the year before it was the 70s, next year it'll be the 2000s.
Right.
Yeah, so that's how that works, which is great. So you, it's a good, they're great openings. It's like a big reunion, people all coming back together. So that's at the Post Office Gallery this Friday evening.
And some people who no longer live in Ballarat, of course, are exhibiting. So,
Yeah, fantastic.
that's always fun.
Yeah.
Well, I want to just remind people something I mentioned last week about Steve Cordelia's small, I think it's called a short opera, which is happening at the just fantastically gorgeous Scrub Hill Church at Newlyn. You go out, you head for Daylesford, and then on your left, when you're near Newlyn, there's this gorgeous little church. So Steve Cordelia is putting on an opera called Amal and the Night Visitors, and it's on the 15th of December at 2 o'clock. So get along to that. I think that would be just a fantastic...
That sounds great.
Yeah. Take your camera, I reckon. Will I continue, Pod? Or?
I reckon you can continue for the time being, yes.
Okay, so there's a new idea happening in Ballarat. It's called Mass Hysteria, and by a group called Mass Motion. And they're works by Travis Price and Milan Milojevic, brought to life around Ballarat. So it's a little bit like a few months ago, and you had work in this pod, where big works are put up in a public space, and you go around with your phone and you get onto an app.
Virtual reality.
And there's an app called iJack, and if you get onto iJack, these pictures of Travis Price and Milan Milojevic will move. And I know that there's about 10 of them maybe. There's one in the Hydrant Cafe, there's some in Mare Street, there's some in Armstrong Street, but also in other places. So once you get the hang of it, I'm sure you can sort of follow a particular route. And these they've started now from the 7th of December to the 31st. So they won't be there forever, folks. So if you want a bit of fun, get out and see Mass Hysteria.
That sounds like great fun.
Good.
Yeah.
What else have I got? Motor City Sounds, which is a fairly big band, really.
They're great.
Is playing at the Mechanics Institute, which is also a venue that has a lot of music and promotes themselves for that. They're playing on Saturday this week, Saturday the 14th at 8 o'clock. There's a book launch, Pod, of a book called Mining Mud and Metals. Yes, it's an overview of tunnellers. So if you think about it, Ballarat's got so many tunnels and shafts under us.
Well, did you see that a mine shaft opened up up in Fussell Street just yesterday, I think?
That's right.
And they've had to cut a great... Well, they'll have to try and fill it somehow.
They've had to close the road.
Yeah.
Yes.
Incredible.
So maybe these tunnellers, there might be some bit of a story about what's under Fussell Street. So anyway, it's a book launch of this book, Mining Mud and Metals, about the tunnellers. That's on the 14th, which is Saturday, between 2 and 4 at a place that does other tunnelling. It's at the Ballarat New Cemetery in the Sovereign Chapel. So that's a bit of an unusual venue. So it's in Dufton Street. You turn up and go into the cemetery. There's a car park and there's a chapel in there. So that's on Saturday between 2 and 4 for that book launch about tunnelling.
Well, while you're looking at your list, I thought I would remind people about the 12 Days of Christmas windows that have been created by 6 Ballarat artists. That was launched very recently. And there is a map. If you go to Ballarat Council Facebook page, and there's a map that you can open up and see where they all are. But they're basically very much in the CBD. There's
There's about 4 in the Mall.
in the Mall, Central Square, Lydiard Street, up
Lydiard
near
Street.
the gold shop, the
Yeah.
mining exchange, and along Sturt Street, down along near the BMI, the
Yeah.
Ballarat Mechanics Institute, somewhere along there. But there is a map. So there are 12 different windows created by 6 local artists. And
Melinda Muscat,
Deborah Klein, Margie Balazic,
uh,
Samantha Thompson from Lethbridge.
Zlatko Blacic.
Yep. And Emily Vandermolen.
Yep.
I think I've pronounced that right. I'm
that's-
sorry, Emily, if I got that. Yep. And there should be one more.
I think there's one more.
So Deborah Klein, Melinda Muscat, Emily Vandermolen, Margie Balazic, Samantha Thompson, and one more.
Zlatko.
Zlatko.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So there we
That's
are.
it.
Yeah, so check those out. They're gorgeous.
They're gorgeous, and as I've been looking at them, I've realised what a big space it is. You know, in each case, they're really quite big spaces to fill with an artwork, a three-dimensional.
They are. That is a huge
Story.
project to undertake,
It
especially
is.
if you're working individually. That's a lot of,
And many of them, it's sort of highlight a bit of a different art form in a way. Like many of them that I've seen is pretty much cut paper in different ways, and it's quite interesting to look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll also notice too, I'm not sure if that gingerbread house, I don't think the gingerbread house is part of that, but it is a City of Ballarat thing. But if you, as you're wandering down Sturt Street, part of the Albert Street has been closed off, and there's a gingerbread house down there, which is pretty cute
I wish you
too.
could eat it.
Oh,
Wouldn't that be fantastic?
next year, do one that we can eat.
Yeah, do one that we can eat. Really.
Yeah.
Come on, bakers.
Yeah.
Get on.
And then we'll have to crochet one as well, of course.
Yeah. So speaking of Christmas pod, the Ballarat carols, I think this is their sort of main carol thing. Carols by
Candlelight,
Going
yes.
to be at the City Oval, which is that one up in Pleasant Street, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
On Sunday the 22nd at 4 o'clock, which I think's funny because it's candlelight at 4 o'clock.
It's a bit too early for candles, isn't it?
So let's hope it's a really cloudy day. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
And I've just got one more pod.
Okay.
On Thursday, as in tomorrow night, at the Munster Arms, there's a trad music session at 8 o'clock. And I think they're doing this something like on every second Thursday.
So can you bring along your instrument and join in? Is it that kind of a thing?
Well, the photo on Facebook looked a little bit like maybe you could. I'm not quite sure. Maybe you should go to one first, check it out, and then next visit, bring your instrument.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Just a couple more little things before we let George into the studio. He's being very patient there waiting for us. But the Ballarat Repair Cafe is on again this Saturday, the 14th of December, from 1 till 4 p.m. That happens at the Ballarat Tech School in Albert Street. It's a free event where you can bring along something that needs to be repaired, and the people there, the volunteers there, will share a skill with you on how to fix that item. If they can fix it, some items can be fixed, some can't, but as much as possible, the volunteers will show you how they fix something. So it's not just about fixing, it's also about skill sharing. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think this is about the 5th Repair Cafe. It's been pretty successful so far, so you'll be paired with a volunteer that can fix your thing, so maybe an electronic thing or a bit of furniture or maybe something that needs mending or darning or something like that, but you will be taught how to do it yourself, which is the most important part of that, I think.
When's that again, Pod?
That's this Saturday, the 14th of December, from 1 till 4 p.m.
Right.
As usual, loads and loads happening around the city. Well, all during the week, really. And my final announcement, Ballarat Life Drawing at the main bar tomorrow night from 7 till 9 p.m. It's the final drawing event of the year. It's laid back, it's untutored, all abilities and levels are welcome. BYO materials, you can grab a glass of wine or a coffee, something to eat while you're drawing there. You can join the Facebook group, Ballarat Life Drawing, and that happens at the main bar in Main Road. So that's been going gangbusters this year too.
So they have a model.
They have a model.
Yeah.
There's always a model, which is fantastic. Yeah. So
Great.
that's all of the arts program for this week.
Fantastic.
I'm so-
Congratulations, Pod.
I'm glad to be back, and I was a bit nervous about coming into the new studio, but I think I've broken through the barrier now, and I hope it all sounded okay out there, folks. I'm sure it did.
I'm sure it did.
Did in here.
Yeah.
So
Good show.
thank you for listening. We'll be back again next week with more arty news and interviews. And keep an eye out for our Facebook page update tonight, and make sure you like what we put up there. Make sure you share the page, and you encourage your friends to listen and all that kind of thing.
Now, have you got some music to put on?
Well, let me have a look. I feel like I need to play something from my old playlist here. So I'm going to try, because I want to take my CD with me, I'm going to try to play, I reckon I'm going to play some Tommy Emmanuel. So we'll be back next week, folks. Thanks for listening.